Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to share with you Blur's brand new royalty policy, which was announced recently. It can be said that this royalty policy is a direct challenge to Opensea in order to attract more NFT creators and transactions to its platform. Similarly, after the airdrop on February 16, Blur also released details of its token distribution and the specific participation requirements for the next airdrop. Therefore, in this video, I want to discuss royalty policy, its token distribution, and how to participate in the second round of airdrops to maximize related earnings. First, let's take a look at the tokenomics of Blur. Actually, the current version of Blur's tokenomics is not a very detailed version. It only explains the distribution of tokens and does not clarify some specific reasons. Firstly, let's take a look at its specific distribution. Blur has a total of 3 billion tokens, of which 51% is allocated to the community, 29% to the team or core contributors, 18.8% to investors, and 1.2% to advisors. In this round of airdrops, 360 million tokens, 12%, are used for this airdrop, and the remaining 1.17 billion tokens account for 39%. Of the 39%, 10% has been confirmed to be used for the distribution of incentives for Season 2. So actually, Blur's airdrop strategy is the same as Opensea's. It's not a one-time airdrop that ends completely, but there will be multiple rounds of airdrops. To get more airdrops, you need to complete tasks given by the platform, and more. First, if you are a blue chip holder or an NFT holder, you can hang orders on Blur and earn points. Second, if you can bid close to the floor price, you can also earn more points. Based on this bid mechanism, a large number of orders can actually be concentrated near the floor price. If a lot of bids are placed near the floor price, it actually increases the liquidity around the floor price. For trading, the price closest to the floor price is often the easiest to transact. And because there are so many bids near the floor price, the prices offered by these bids are also very close to the floor price. So for sellers, this often makes it easier to transact and generate trades. If we want to maximize our earnings in Season 2, can we hold blue chips in one account and place a bid with another account that will never be executed? In theory, there is nothing wrong with this approach, as it seems that you can continue to hold and earn related income. So it feels like Season 2 is quite interesting to play. Next, I want to share with you Blur's royalty policy, which can be said to be a direct challenge to Opensea in the race to capture more market share. The most important aspect of this article is this chart, which I will use to provide a related interpretation. Now we know that if you are an NFT project or creator and sell your NFTs on the platform, you will receive a certain royalty income. However, if you purchase listings on Opensea or other platforms from Blur, you will only receive a royalty on Blur. This means that where you buy it from, you need to comply with each platform's royalty system. There are also platforms with zero royalty, where you won't receive any royalties from trading. The royalty system is very important for creators because it directly affects their income. Therefore, based on these reasons, Blur has set up a strategy to compete with Opensea. The first scenario is to not block anyone, and you are free to trade on Blur or on the entire Opensea platform. In this case, on Blur, you can get a minimum required royalty of 0.5%. However, on Opensea, you won't be able to get a mandatory royalty, and it requires further analysis to determine. It's possible that your royalty can be very high, but it's also possible that your royalty will be very low. The second scenario is when you choose to block Blur and only operate on Opensea with your listings. This doesn't mean you can't list or trade on Blur, but rather you can't participate in the bidding on Blur. You won't have a bid on Blur. However, you can still receive the minimum 0.5% royalty from Blur. In this scenario, you can trade on Opensea and receive a full royalty income, which is a very smooth action. The third scenario is also the beginning of Blur's attack on Opensea. If you block Opensea, you cannot trade on it, so there will be no income. But at this point, if you continue to trade on Blur, you can get full royalties, so these two steps provide a clear operation guide. If you block Blur, You can still choose to trade and list items, but you will not be subject to Blur's bid operation, and you will still receive a 0.5% royalty income. At this time, although you can also trade on Opensea, you will definitely face more restrictions on Blur. But if you completely block Opensea, then everything will come to Blur, and you don't have to play on Opensea anymore. So these 3 steps are simply a pinpoint design of Blur against Opensea. In the second step, although it is called blocking Blur, you can still execute your listing and trading, and you are not completely blocked. Therefore, I don't think this is a true block Blur. The third step, blocking Opensea, is the real block where all trading and listings are completely cancelled. The fourth ideal scenario is also listed here, which is not currently available and does not involve any blocking. You can trade on Blur and also get the full royalties on the entire Opensea. This situation is also designed by Opensea to prevent Blur. The idea is to encourage everyone to trade on Opensea rather than going to Blur for this royalty system. Therefore, Blur's royalty system can be seen as a counter-attack against Opensea's royalty system, which clearly signals an attack on Opensea. Use this royalty design to attract users, and at the same time, also use the expectation of Season 2 airdrop to attract users to make various bids, or to list my own blue chip NFTs. I have many sell orders and bids, and they are all around the floor price. So, in this way, my entire trading, whether it is the number of orders, the liquidity of the orders, or the buy orders based on the floor price, is very strong. This way, compared to Opensea, there are more options for users to operate. Currently, Opensea has not issued tokens, and it has no token incentives. It can only shield Blur by closing some royalty buttons. But in the current fierce competition of Blur, Opensea seems to be falling behind a bit. Looking at the data, in February, the trading volume of Blur has completely surpassed that of Opensea, or at times it was about the same, which shows that Blur is growing rapidly. With the addition of the second round of Blur Season 2 airdrops, coupled with its own bidding mechanism, more sell orders, and more buy orders around the sell orders, users may tend to go to Blur. As a matter of fact, the core of NFT is how to set up its liquidity. Blur has cleverly used its token economics to incentivize more buying orders to enter the NFT market. They have really placed sell orders near the floor price, which is very similar to the centralized liquidity of Uniswap v3 for NFTs. This design is very sophisticated. Traditional order-based exchanges like Opensea are having a hard time dealing with this mechanism. We can see this from the data, so I think it's a big challenge for Opensea, and we don't know how things will develop in the future. Although Blur hopes to negotiate with Opensea, it's clear that the market is limited, and the success of one means the loss of the other. Currently, Opensea is raising funding at a valuation of $13 billion, while Blur is seeking funding with a public valuation of $1 billion, which is 13 times lower. However, in terms of trading volume and data, Blur has been rapidly gaining market share in the past 6 months, and is even on par with Opensea. Especially when Season 2 appears, Blur's momentum may become even stronger, and the trading experience is quite smooth and optimized for features such as floor sweeping. In comparison, Opensea's product design is complicated and redundant, with some bugs that have not been fixed for a long time. Competition drives progress, and we hope that Blur's competition can prompt Opensea to make more changes, such as airdrops or other features to give users a better experience. Head exchanges are competing for users, and it's only through positive competition that users can obtain more returns. Alright, here is my comprehensive interpretation of Blur's token economics and their newly launched royalty policy today. See you in the next video, bye.